The story begins in a quiet, peaceful town where life seems simple on the surface, but beneath that calm exterior lies a deep emotional struggle. Here, we are introduced to a boy named Calvin. Calvin is not like other kids. He doesn't enjoy socializing, avoids conversations, and prefers spending time alone. While most teenagers are busy making friends and living carefree lives, Calvin finds comfort in books, silence, and his own thoughts. He is an introvert to the core, someone who feels more than he expresses. Calvin lives with his mother, Sharon. His father died in a tragic accident when Calvin was very young. That incident didn't just take away a father, it shattered the entire family. His older brother Mike left home years ago and moved to another city, and since then, the bond between him and their mother has completely broken. What makes this loss even heavier is the fact that Calvin's father and brother were once wrestling champions. They were respected, admired, almost legendary figures in their time. But now, that legacy feels like a burden more than inspiration. One day, Calvin is sitting near a lake trying to fix a pump for his small fish farm. This is one of the few places where he feels calm, but that peace doesn't last long. A boy from his school named Kat suddenly shows up. Without any reason, he starts harassing Calvin. This isn't new. Calvin has always been an easy target, but this time something is different. For the first time, Calvin gathers the courage to stand up for himself. But courage alone isn't enough. Kat is stronger, more aggressive. He pushes Calvin to the ground violently and walks away, leaving him hurt, physically and emotionally. As Calvin sits there, trying to process what just happened, an old fisherman named Red appears. Red has been quietly observing everything. Instead of pitying Calvin, Red says something simple but powerful. Standing up matters, even if you lose. Those words hit Calvin deeply. That night, Calvin returns home and quietly cleans his wounds. Whenever he feels overwhelmed, he takes out a small memory box. Inside it are old photographs of his father and the official accident report. He stares at those memories for a long time, wondering how different life would be if his father were still alive. Would things have been better? Would he be stronger? Would he feel less alone? Just then, his mother Sharon comes home. Calvin quickly hides the box and pretends everything is normal. He doesn't want her to see his pain, but when she hugs him, she notices his injuries. Shocked, she asks what happened. Calvin lies. He says he just hit a tree. Over the next few days, these thoughts begin to grow stronger. The absence of his father and brother starts affecting him deeply. He feels incomplete, like a part of him is missing. And then, he makes a decision. He decides to take up wrestling. Not because he wants to win, not because he wants fame, but because wrestling is the only connection he has left to his father and his brother. However, there's a problem. His mother hates wrestling. She associates it with loss, pain, and trauma. So Calvin hides his decision from her. Every day after school, he tells her he has extracurricular activities, but instead, he goes to the school gym. At first, he doesn't even participate. He just sits quietly in a corner, watching others practice, observing their movements, understanding the sport. Days pass like this. Then one day, something inside him changes. He decides he doesn't want to just watch anymore. He steps forward and asks to practice. The coach pairs him up with Kat, and once again, Calvin gets completely dominated. Kat doesn't hold back. He hits harder than necessary, humiliating Calvin in front of everyone. The coach has to step in and stop the match. That night, Calvin finally tells his mother the truth. He tells her he has joined wrestling. For a moment, Sharon understands why. She knows Calvin is trying to reconnect with his father and brother, but her fear is stronger than her understanding. I already lost one son to this sport, she says firmly. I won't lose you too. Those words crush Calvin. But he doesn't argue. Instead, he quietly begins searching for his brother Mike's address. After some effort, he finally finds it. One night, he lies to his mother, saying he's staying at a friend's house, but instead, he boards a bus to another city. During the journey, his mind is filled with questions. What will Mike say? Will he be happy to see him, or will he reject him? When he finally reaches the address and knocks on the door, Mike's girlfriend opens it. Calvin walks inside. Mike sees him. There is no excitement, no warmth, no emotion, just surprise. "What are you doing here?" he asks coldly. Calvin feels the distance immediately, but he doesn't give up. He gathers courage and says, "I want to join wrestling. I need your help." But Mike refuses. "I'm busy. I don't have time." Those words break Calvin's heart. Still, he doesn't argue. He leaves quietly. But what Calvin doesn't know is that after he leaves, Mike sits alone in silence for hours, because deep down, he's hurting too. The next day, Sharon goes to Calvin's school and talks to his coach. She tells him about her fears, about losing her husband, about not wanting to lose another son. The coach listens carefully and promises to look after Calvin. Meanwhile, Calvin becomes more isolated than ever. He only talks to two people, Luna, his childhood friend, and Donald, a simple-minded but loyal classmate. Then comes the day of a school wrestling competition. A player in Calvin's weight category gets injured, and suddenly, Calvin is asked to take his place. He panics. He calls Mike, but Mike never responds. Friday arrives. No call, no support. Calvin steps into the ring alone. His opponent is strong, confident, experienced. Calvin feels fear creeping in. The match begins. And just as he feared, he loses. Badly. That defeat hits him hard. He begins to question everything. Maybe this isn't for him. Maybe he made a mistake. But he doesn't quit, because now it's personal. Over the next few matches, Calvin keeps losing, again and again. Public embarrassment, pain, doubt, but he continues. At the same time, Mike's life is falling apart. He loses his job, gets into trouble, and eventually ends up getting arrested after a bar fight. When Calvin finds out, he's shaken. But instead of stepping back, he steps forward. He goes to court, and in front of everyone, he says, "Please release my brother. I promise we won't be back here again." That moment changes everything. Mike finally realizes someone still believes in him. After that, he decides to train Calvin. From this point onward, everything changes. The training is intense. Early mornings, hard drills, painful practice sessions. But slowly, Calvin improves, and more importantly, the bond between the two brothers begins to heal. They start understanding each other again, talking, laughing, living. For the first time in years, they feel like family. Calvin becomes stronger, faster, more confident. And when his next match arrives, something is different. This time, he's not afraid. He steps into the ring with focus. The match begins. Every move he learned, every lesson from Mike, he uses it all, and this time, he wins. Not by luck, but by effort. From that moment onward, Calvin keeps winning, match after match. His confidence grows, his skills sharpen. And secretly, Mike watches every match from a distance. He never steps forward. But his eyes are always filled with pride. The boy who once couldn't stand up for himself is now unstoppable. And for the first time, Calvin isn't fighting just to connect with his past. He's fighting to build his future.